Hello everybody! Today we have another art project to go along with your Charlotte's Web unit. We'll be doing salt crystal web painting. Things you will need: glue, salt, watercolors, or you could use the transparent paint recipe that I sent you, paper, and a black permanent marker. The first thing you'll need to do today is to have a piece of paper that we can lightly, with a pencil, draw a web on. To draw a web, we're going to start by making an X. I'm going to add to my X by drawing a line straight down the middle and another line across the center. Then I want to do layers that go around my web. So I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to do some curved lines that go all the way around, connecting each one of my web frames that I made earlier. So these straight lines are the ones that I'm calling the frame. So I've made one section that goes all the way around my web. Now I'm going to do a second section. Once again, I want to go all the way around, connecting my curved lines at each one of my straight lines. There we go. So the next thing I'm going to do is use my Elmer's glue, and I'm going to trace every line of my web with my glue. You don't want to squeeze too hard or too much glue will come out. We want to try to have nice straight lines if we can. So I'm just going over every pencil line that I made earlier. And it's okay to turn your paper if you need to so that you don't smear the glue. For me, it was easier to do those straight lines first, and now I'm going to go around and do the curved lines that attach the frame. You want to try to be careful and try to stay on the pencil lines so that they don't end up showing at the end. If you hear the snoring, I do apologize. My dog likes to snore when she takes a nap. Okay, so I've gone over all of my pencil lines with my glue. And now what I need to do is get some table salt. This would be salt like what some of you might have on your salt and pepper shakers when you eat dinner. So mine is in a big bottle. If you have yours in a shaker, that actually might be easier for you to apply where you don't get too much salt. Because with these big jugs, it is hard not to pour out too much. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake the salt onto my glue, and I want to try to cover all of the glue if I can. So I'm just kind of shaking it around right over on the top of all of those glue lines that I did, making sure that I cover all of the glue spaces. Now, real carefully, I can pick up and hold on to each side and just kind of wiggle it back and forth a little bit so that the extra salt will attach to the glue. Okay? When I feel good about how that salt looks and make sure that it's sticking to the glue, then I'm just going to set it to the side and let it dry. I let my piece dry overnight, and then the next day it was all set up and the salt had dried onto my glue. So this is when the fun part comes in. So on the second day after your glue has dried, you're going to use watercolors, and I have my messy paint palette of watercolors right here. You're going to use watercolors on top of that salt. So when I use watercolors, I want to get my paintbrush wet with water. I'm just going to mix that water onto my paint palette color. Today I'm going to choose some blue. I want to make sure I get it plenty wet. And when you apply the watercolor to the salt, it should just kind of spread through the salt mixture. So as I gently tap my paintbrush onto that salt line, the watercolor starts to spread. So I really don't even have to paint back and forth. All I have to do is just kind of set my brush on there and watch it trickle through the salt crystals. So I'm going to do that around my entire web. I chose blue. You don't have to use blue. You might have a color that you like better. Now I'm going to continue to paint my blue web, but while I'm doing that, I want to go ahead and show you what the next step is. So to add to our web, we're going to be making a spider. So you'll need a small piece of paper. I used white paper. If you don't have a lot of paper at home, you can use a scrap envelope from mail that's old. You could use the back of a cereal box. All different things that you can use. So just a small piece of paper, and what we're going to do first is draw a spider on it. You may choose to draw your spider with pencil first. I'm going to go ahead and use Sharpie just so it shows up for you on the camera. So for my spider's head, I wanted him to have a hairy head. So I'm just doing some zigzag lines around in the shape of an oval. Now inside of that shape, I want to give my spider a smile, and I'm going to give him 2 eyes. The next thing I'm going to do is give my spider a body. So my spider body is going to be an oval shape. And I just want to decorate it a little bit, so I was going to give him some stripes. Maybe your spider is going to have polka dots. You'll get to decide. I can do some polka dots back here. And then I'm going to give my spider some legs. Remember, spiders have 8 legs, so I want to make sure I put 4 legs on each side of my spider. And now it's time for the fun part. So once I have my spider all drawn, then I'm ready to watercolor his body. So you get to choose what colors you want to put on him. I'm going to grab a brush and we'll start adding some color to him. Let's see, I'm going to give him, this one's going to have a green head. And once again, it's fine to use a watercolor palette like I have. Or if you want to make the transparent paint recipe that I sent out, it's fine to use that recipe as well. Not everybody has a paint palette at home, so sometimes we have to make do with the supplies that we have. And once again, the colors on this project are completely up to you. You get to decide how your spider is going to look. There's no right or wrong. Just have fun. Now, once you get your spider all painted, then you might have to let him dry for just a few minutes. And once his body is dry, then you'll be ready for the next step. Okay, so you want to make sure you paint your whole spider. I'm going to go ahead and set this one to the side and show you the one that I already have finished. So after I colored my spider, I did want to make sure that he had some nice bold lines, so I used Sharpie to start with, but if you haven't used Sharpie on yours, you'll probably want to go over your pencil lines in Sharpie just so it has a nice bold edge, and then you're going to use a pair of scissors to cut out around your spider. And if you'll notice, I didn't even cut in between the legs. I just kind of went around the legs to make it easier and simpler for myself. Okay? So after I have my spider all cut out, I'm going to go back to that web with my salt crystals that I painted earlier. I'm going to take my spider. going to put a couple dots of glue on the back. Remember, when we use glue, we use just a dot, not a lot. So I'm going to put, I think on my spider maybe 4 small dots. That way it doesn't get too messy when I glue it onto my web. And then you just get to decide where you want to put your spider on your web. I think I want mine to go right about here. Just going to set him on there and press just a little bit. The last thing I need to do at the bottom corner of my picture is sign my name. An artist always includes their name on their piece. And then I'm all done. My salt crystal watercolor painting. Thanks for watching.